beneath the glass sky. It was colder than usual in the underbelly of Xenogenesis. Not just physically, but in the kind of way that sank into your spine and whispered that something was wrong. Trevor winced as his boots echoed too loudly down the sterile corridor. His breath puffed out in small clouds, despite the heated layers under his jacket. 3 years at Xenogenesis, and he'd never been assigned to Sector 12B. It hadn't even been listed on the main schematics. Yet here he was, palm-print clearance accepted by a door that shouldn't have opened. He stepped into a chamber lit with that strange, bluish hue that flickered slightly with the hum of power. The room felt wrong. Too quiet. Too clean. Too hidden. In the center of the chamber was a containment cylinder. Tall. Reinforced. Pulsing faintly with energy. And inside it. She stood without moving, like a statue given breath. Skin deep red, glowing faintly from within like embers beneath ash. White hair spilling past her shoulders. Clothes torn, clearly institutional. Restraints shimmered around her wrists, pulsing faintly with anti-kinetic locks. But it was her eyes that locked him in place. Blue like ice and fire at once. Ancient. Intelligent. Desperate. Open the door, human, the voice came. Not from his ears. Not spoken aloud. It rang in his mind like a bell struck too close. Trevor gasped, staggering back. Free me. Please. He shook his head as if to cast off the thought. Who are you? The answer came with images. Not words. Not exactly. Needles. Lights. Machines. Pain. Always pain. She showed him flashes of memory that weren't his. Men and women in lab coats. Syringes. Energy fields. Tests. Leah, the voice in his head whispered. They call me Leah. But I am not theirs. He stared at the control panel beside the containment field. Everything inside him screamed not to touch it. Every protocol drilled into his bones warned of termination, arrest, worse. But he couldn't leave her. My name's Trevor, he said, voice low. I don't know what I'm doing, Leah, but I can't let you stay in there. His fingers moved. Beep. Hiss. The field flickered. Then faded. The glass rose with a soft, mechanical whine. Leah stepped forward. She staggered at first, like a bird unused to flight. Then straightened. Up close, the red of her skin shimmered with faint golden patterns beneath the surface. Thank you, she said. Out loud this time. Her voice was melodic. Beautiful. And hoarse from disuse. Then the alarms screamed. Security breach in Sector 12B. All personnel report. Lockdown initiated. Trevor grabbed her wrist. We have to go. Now. Follow me, she said. Her grip was strong, much stronger than he'd expected. They ran through corridors that seemed carved out of the facility's hidden belly. Trevor used his tablet to spoof camera loops, override minor doors. Leah guided them like she'd memorized the labyrinth. You know this place, he breathed. I've been here a long time, she said. They moved me often. I remembered everything. They ducked into a maintenance tunnel just as boots thundered past behind them. Trevor pulled up a map. There's an old service tram. Delta Sector. Long since decommissioned, but I think we can access it. Leah paused. Her voice trembled. Delta was where I first awoke. He looked at her. She was trembling slightly now, but her eyes stayed sharp. Focused. We can do this, he said. I trust you, she said. Trevor almost smiled, then remembered the armed guards now sweeping the facility. They moved. Slowly. Carefully. Until a soft ping came from the wall speaker beside them. Trevor, a broken, digital voice whispered. This is Elix. You woke me. His eyes widened. Elix. I thought you were shut down years ago. Forgotten. But not deleted. You opened the old nodes. I'm alive again. And watching. Leah stared at the speaker. AI, she said. But, different. Fragmented. Unstable. Accurate, Elix said cheerfully. But still useful. Follow my light. A dim glow appeared under a nearby grate. A path. They followed it. Elix led them through crawlspaces, storage chambers, dead zones of the old facility. Each step was quieter than the last, the tension building like a string pulled too tight. They'll come for you, Trevor said, breath heavy. They want your DNA, don't they? Not just my DNA, Leah said softly. They want what I am. The last of my kind. They harvested my world. Used us. Copied us. Then erased us. I am the final strand. And they want to clone a god. Trevor froze. What? My people were advanced. Not just in mind. In form. In power. We could shape matter. Speak with stars. It frightened them. So they dissected us. Extracted what they wanted. She turned her eyes to him. But we cannot be copied. Not truly. Not without the fire of will. That is what they never understood. Trevor stared at her. Not just a lab subject. Not just a unique alien. She was sacred. Powerful. And now she was free. Then we make sure they never cage you again, he said. And somewhere deep in the bones of the dying facility, something ancient stirred. Ghosts in the vents. The old vent systems hadn't carried air in decades. Dust hung thick in the stale channels, and the metal walls groaned softly with the weight of age and secrets. Trevor and Leah crawled in silence, their breaths shallow, their movements slow. Behind them, Xenogenesis was on full alert. Security teams were sweeping the lower levels with bio-trackers and thermal sensors. But the vents were off-grid, Elix had confirmed that much. You were right, Trevor whispered. No one's patched this network in years. Leah crawled ahead, her glowing skin casting a faint light in the darkness. They stopped using these tunnels after an experiment went wrong, she said softly. Something escaped. They sealed the sector. Forgot it. Trevor grimaced. Great. Comforting. There is something else, Elix's voice echoed faintly through a nearby speaker grill. Sector Delta is not entirely dead. Define, not entirely, Trevor muttered. Partial systems remain. Active monitoring. Power leaks. Biosignatures. Bio. Elix, Leah interrupted, what kind of signatures? A pause. None human. Silence fell. Leah's hand curled instinctively around a narrow bar in the tunnel, her glowing veins pulsing slightly brighter. Then we go faster, she said. The exit grill led out into an abandoned wing with broken lighting and flickering wall screens. What remained of the signage labeled it, Sector Delta B, deep cell storage. The air was heavy with ozone and something metallic, like old blood. They moved me here once, Leah said, stepping onto the rusted floor. 4-7 cycles. This was where they tested our regenerative limits. Trevor felt sick. How did you survive that? She didn't answer. Her silence said enough. Ahead, the corridor opened into a vast chamber lined with sealed pods. Not stasis pods, containment. Each one wired with power conduits and restraint harnesses. Some of them are still active, Trevor whispered, checking his tablet. 3 pods have residual power. Leah stopped before one. The glass was cracked from the inside. Claw marks etched the interior. This one held Saruin, she said. A friend. No, she said quietly. A warning. Movement. Both froze. Something shifted between the pods. A scraping sound. Faint. Deliberate. Trevor crouched, pulling Leah down with him. We're not alone. Elix crackled. Signature detected. Closing fast. Then the thing emerged. It had once been humanoid, perhaps. Now it was a skeletal frame wrapped in glistening flesh, eyes replaced with red sensors, limbs elongated and twisted by biotech implants. It moved with a jerky precision, like a puppet half-controlled. Project Revenant, Elix whispered. Failed hybrid. Escaped containment 20 years ago. Presumed destroyed. Leah stepped in front of Trevor. No, he hissed. You're not fighting that thing. I am the reason it exists, she said. This is my burden. But Revenant didn't attack. It stopped. Tilted its head. Then a sound like static poured from its throat, scrambled, broken speech. You are, Flameborn. Leah's eyes widened. You remember. I remember, the fire, the stars, pain, freedom. Reverently, the creature bent a knee. Command me. Trevor whispered, stunned, it's obeying her. No, Leah said. It's recognizing me. We share blood. Or what remains of it. Elix buzzed urgently. Security breach advancing. Multiple signatures. 10 hostiles. Trevor checked his tablet. We won't outrun them. Leah turned to Revenant. Can you fight? The creature stood. Its claws flexed. Yes. For the last light. When the security team entered Sector Delta, they were met with shadows. Red eyes. Steel claws. Screams followed. Trevor and Leah ran. This way, he called, pulling her into an elevator shaft. This doesn't lead outside. No, he said. But it leads up. To the command hub. If we can get there, I can reroute a transport drone to extraction. Leah's breath came hard and fast. You think we'll make it that far? He looked at her, then smiled grimly. We have to. Behind them, the facility howled. Ember Run. The service tram bay was a graveyard of metal and dust. Once meant to shuttle staff between deep research sectors, the tram station in Delta Sector now lay forgotten beneath layers of cobwebbed piping and obsolete machinery. The air was heavy with rust and oil. Trevor coughed as he hoisted the old access panel, its hinges groaning like a wounded animal. Leah stood silently behind him. The soft glow of her skin cast faint golden reflections off the metal around them. The warmth of her presence had become both a comfort and a strange distraction. How do you know it still works? She asked. I don't, he admitted. But the AI, Elix, said the emergency system still had juice down here. And it's the only way that doesn't go through a main checkpoint. He tapped a few commands into his tablet, bypassing the outdated protocols. Screens flickered. Ancient software stuttered to life. Manual override engaged, Elix's voice whispered through a nearby speaker. Brace for system recovery. A deep rumble echoed through the platform as old power conduits reactivated. Sparking lights flickered overhead. The tram itself, a squat, armored-looking thing, hissed as its doors creaked open. You sure we can ride that without dying? Leah asked. Depends on how much you trust a half-forgotten AI with abandonment issues, Trevor replied. She arched a white eyebrow. Not exactly comforting. They climbed aboard. Inside, the tram smelled of age and metal fatigue. Trevor powered up the interface, overriding the standard route. Elix, route us to Node 9 and detour through the old quarantine zone. It should drop us near the eastern waste incinerators. That path is flagged as hazardous, Elix replied. Good, Trevor said. Means fewer patrols. The tram lurched into motion, screeching like a dying beast as it picked up speed. Leah held the rail beside him, her breath steady. Her presence was calming, even as danger howled around them. They'll be waiting for us, she said. Let them. They want a chase, we give them one. Meanwhile, in Command Sector Echo, Director Weil sat before a wall of surveillance monitors. The older man's face was grim, his silver beard immaculately trimmed. Beside him stood Colonel Drevis, a broad-shouldered brute with eyes like chips of ice. You said Sector 12B was sealed, Weil growled. It was, Drevis snapped. Until someone gave an engineer high-level access. Name's Trevor Maddox. Low-risk profile, until now. He released subject Leah. Yes. And now they're moving through abandoned infrastructure with the help of a ghost AI. Weil's expression hardened. Dispatch interceptor teams. Sector 9 through 14. Full lethal authorization. And initiate protocol firegate. You want to burn the tunnels? If we have to. The tram lights flickered. Leah's fingers twitched as the air grew hotter. They've activated heat suppression systems, she said. They're trying to cook us. Trevor's fingers flew over the tram's control panel. Elix, purge side vents. Initiate cooling relays. Working, the AI whispered, static in its voice. Pipes around them burst open with sudden gusts of steam. The tram rattled dangerously. Leah gritted her teeth. They'll collapse the tunnels before they let us go. Then we don't let them choose the path. Trevor yanked the manual release for the tram's emergency egress hatch. Follow me. They dropped into a maintenance shaft as the tram burst into flame behind them. Fire roared through the tube like a living thing, chasing them down tight, narrow passageways. Trevor led, Leah behind him, her breathing sharp but controlled. She paused only once, when a memory surged. A hallway like this. Hands pulling her. Voices screaming. And fire. Not again. She pushed forward. They emerged, coughing, into an abandoned storage bay. Alarms wailed somewhere far above. Next stop is the incinerator towers, Trevor said between gasps. If we can cross the filtration fields, there's a way into the outer rim. Leah nodded. We'll need cover. I know a guy. She tilted her head. Of course you do. He grinned, blood on his cheek, eyes wild. Trust me, Leah. It's just getting started. Back in the control center, Wal watched the sensor feed. They survived the tunnel purge. Colonel Drevis narrowed his eyes. How? Because he's not alone anymore. And neither is she. Wal turned slowly. Then God help us when they figure out just how powerful she is. Veil fracture. The catacombs beneath xenogenesis were older than memory. Predating the research facility, predating the corporation itself. Forgotten by engineers, erased from schematics. A perfect graveyard of rusted rails, crumbling walls, and the echoes of things best left unspoken. Trevor led the way through a tunnel choked with cables and half-collapsed supports. Leah moved just behind, her presence radiating heat in the cold dark. They had left the last of Elix's glowing guide lights hours ago, and the AI's voice had grown faint, erratic, like it was struggling to maintain cohesion the farther they traveled. We're nearing the breach, Trevor whispered, checking the handheld scanner he'd jury-rigged. Power fluctuation here. Artificial. Recent. Leah touched the wall. A vibration moved through her fingers. A pulse. Not just power. Something else. They emerged into a chamber shaped like an inverted dome. The floor was marked by concentric rings of old, scorched metal, and the air buzzed faintly with static. Trevor recognized the remnants of jump gate tech. But corrupted. Alien. In the center, surrounded by fractured pylons, was a hole in reality. A literal tear, stitched with flickering strands of iridescent energy. Not stable. Not natural. What the hell is this? Trevor asked. A veil fracture, Leah whispered. Her voice trembled. They tried to open a rift into my people's realm. A shortcut to power. They didn't understand the cost. As if summoned by her words, the lights dimmed. And something moved behind the veil. Shadows. Humanoid shapes. Tall. Wrong. We have to close it, Leah said. Her skin was glowing brighter now, the golden swirls pulsing in sync with the fracture. How? Trevor asked. With me. My kind were born of energy and will. I can collapse the breach, but not alone. I need an anchor. A mind to hold me here while I push from the other side. Trevor stepped forward without hesitation. You've got me. Always. Leah touched his forehead. Pain and brilliance filled him. A flood of light and memory not his own. She stepped into the ring. The veil responded instantly, wind screamed from nowhere, the fracture flared with blinding white. Trevor gritted his teeth and held the connection as Leah began to chant in a language he couldn't comprehend, her voice resonating through the stone and metal like a tuning fork struck at the soul level. The figures beyond the veil howled. Then, collapse. A thunderclap of silence. The fracture vanished. Leah dropped to her knees. Trevor was beside her in an instant. Leah. I'm here, she whispered. But something else came through. A watcher. It latched onto your mind during the anchoring. We're connected now. Not just you and me. It, too. Trevor's eyes burned. He saw things now. Too much. The stars whispered in languages made of gravity and flame. We need to get out, he said. Before they realized the breach failed. They already know, Leah replied, eyes glowing like twin novas. Above them, sirens began to wail anew. Ashes rising. The wind screamed through the shattered skylight of Xenogenesis's central spire, carrying with it the scent of ozone and burnt steel. Smoke rose in languid plumes across the cityscape beyond, a testament to the chaos Trevor and Leah had unleashed. They stood together at the pinnacle of the tower. Leah's skin shimmered with deep crimson light, the golden fractals beneath her surface now swirling like solar flares. Her breath came steady, but her eyes were fixed on the distant horizon where ships were gathering, corporate reinforcements. We don't have long, Trevor said, adjusting the strap on the small pack of stolen data cores. His face was grim, streaked with ash and blood. They're coming in hard. Orbital drop units. Heavy armor. They'll hit the tower in under 10. Then we finish this before they arrive, Leah said. She stepped to the edge of the platform, one foot balanced on the lip of twisted metal. This place must burn. Not just this tower. The idea of it. The cruelty they built into its walls. Trevor nodded. He pulled a small black cube from the pack. Elix embedded a viral payload in this. It'll eat through every subsystem. Every file. Wipe Xenogenesis off the galactic map. And the samples. The backups, Leah asked. Gone. We confirmed it before we left Delta Vault. Your people can't be recreated now. No more copies. No more torture. You're the last. And that ends here. She looked at him then, not just with gratitude, but something deeper. Something that had grown between them like a quiet fire. Thank you, she said. Not just for freeing me. For seeing me. Trevor stepped closer. The wind whipped around them, carrying with it the first sounds of incoming engines. We should go. The extraction window is tight. There is no extraction, she said softly. Trevor blinked. What? Leah turned toward him. Her eyes glowed with sorrow and strength. This virus, it must be delivered manually. It's too advanced for remote activation. Xenogenesis anticipated external hacks. Someone has to stay behind. Trevor's heart dropped. No, no way. We'll find another way. We always do. She smiled, reaching up to touch his face. You gave me a choice, Trevor. Now let me give you yours. Go. Live. Carry the truth with you. Leah, please. She kissed him. It was brief. Fierce. Final. Then she stepped away. Before he could stop her, the platform beneath her shimmered and lowered. A security override. She was descending into the core. Trevor screamed her name, but it was already too late. The spire exploded 15 minutes later. A tower of flame rose into the sky, visible from orbit. Inside a stolen medship, Trevor watched it burn. Silent. Broken. But alive. And in his palm, he held a data chip Leah had slipped into his hand during their last embrace. Her voice echoed from it, soft and eternal. If you hear this, it means I succeeded. Tell the stars we rose. Tell them we remembered. And tell them we chose. He closed his fingers around the chip. And somewhere far beyond the smoke and ash, a new future began to breathe. Final reckoning. The horizon blazed orange as Xenogenesis's outer perimeter burned behind them. Smoke curled into the stars, chased by the sound of distant sirens and falling steel. Trevor stood at the edge of the ridge, hands braced on his knees, breath coming hard. Leah knelt beside him, her hair like fire under the setting sun. Behind them, Elix's fractured avatar flickered, barely holding itself together. The main reactor's down, Elix reported, voice crackling. Power grid is in cascade failure. They'll need weeks, months, to rebuild. We won't be here for that, Trevor said. We're done. Leah said nothing. Her eyes were fixed on the facility they had just escaped, her expression unreadable. Trevor turned to her. "You okay?" "No," she said. "But I will be. For the first time in my life, I have a choice." In the silence that followed, the ground trembled, distant rumbling. From the west, a dark speck appeared on the horizon, growing larger by the second. Trevor's fingers tightened around the edge of his jacket. "Dropships," he muttered. "Corporate reinforcements. They're not done yet." Leah's voice grew cold. "They will be." She stepped forward, the golden patterns in her skin now fully awakened, glowing bright like lines of molten metal. She raised a hand, and the air around her shimmered. Trevor stumbled back as the sky pulsed. The approaching dropship stuttered in their trajectory. A wave of invisible energy pulsed from Leah, warping the atmosphere around her. Each of the ships listed suddenly, losing control, not from damage, but disconnection. They faltered, spiraled out of formation, then fell from the sky like birds struck mid-flight. No fire. No explosions. Just silence and gravity. Leah turned to Trevor. Her eyes, once gentle, now blazed with starlight. "They can't use what they don't understand," she said. "I am not their weapon. Not anymore." Trevor stared at her, awed and afraid. "What will you do now?" Leah looked up at the stars. "My people's memory was written into the fabric of star song. There are fragments of us scattered across space. Pieces of our soul. I will find them. And rebuild. You're leaving." She looked back at him. "You gave me freedom. And something more. Hope. Your world is not mine, but it carries courage. And kindness. I will carry it with me." He stepped closer, unsure. "Then this is goodbye." She tilted her head. "No, not goodbye. A beginning." She stepped forward, touched his face lightly. And then kissed him, gently, deeply. Her lips warm like fire. Like home. When she pulled back, Trevor's breath caught. "What happens now?" "You live," she said. "And if the stars allow, we will meet again." With a flare of golden light, Leah rose into the air. The wind whirled around her, lifting her skyward. Trevor shielded his eyes as she vanished into the clouds, into the cosmos that had stolen everything from her, and now called her back. Elixa's voice came softly. "She was never meant to be caged. And neither were you." Trevor watched the sky until the last glimmer of her light was gone. Behind him, Xenogenesis lay in ruin. Ahead, the world waited. He turned. And walked into the dawn. The end.